Good morning, Chillie with Chillie Cruises here with the November 5th episode of Travel and Cruise Industry News. It's election day here in Virginia, so we're going to be going up to the polls here in a little bit, do our due diligence and casting a vote. Little cool this morning. It's in the low 30s again. Not my favorite time of year. It's time for the old poop to hibernate. That's what I think I should do in the wintertime. Anyway, got a couple things to cover this morning before we get to the news. By the way, welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. Did I say that? I don't even know. This morning. Anyway, I'm not sure if it was Saturday or last Thursday. One of the shows recently, I made a mistake. I know that shocks the hell out of all of you that I would make a mistake. Actually, talking about my cruises that I've got booked for February, and the February 1st cruise on the Zuiderdam, I'm calling it Zuiderdam. But Bonnie, our friend Bonnie that's on here on most days, and I have been discussing the proper pronunciation of Zuiderdam, Zeeterdam, Zweeterdam, Zwooterdam. When I get on the boat, I'll talk to the captain and find out how you pronounce the name, because I'm not sure. For now, I'm calling it the Zuiderdam. But anyway, I've said on the air that I was going on an Eastern Caribbean cruise on the Zuiderdam. Actually, it's not. It is a Jamaica Western Caribbean cruise. It goes to Falmouth and Grand Cayman and Cozumel, I think, are the three stops. So it's not Eastern Caribbean at all. It's Western Caribbean. My second cruise of my back-to-backs, which is the Carnival Sunrise, which sails on the 8th of February, is the Eastern Caribbean cruise. So I'm doing a Western followed by an Eastern. So I said that wrong. So if I confused anybody, I apologize. That's coming up February 1st. If any of you can get away and go, there's still some cabins available on both. Just let me know. Excuse me, a little coffee to kind of ease my throat this morning. Okay, the two other things to get to before we get to the news itself. One, I'm starting a new feature on this program. When I come across a really good deal on a cruise, I'm gonna call it my daily special. And I happened to do that as I was doing some research earlier today. And I throw it out. And when I throw one of these out, folks, it's just strictly a really nice price point. I recommend that if you have a regular cruise provider and you're interested in something that I throw out, call them and see if they can give you the same deal. If they can't, and you want me to help with that, then let me know. You can either leave me a comment or find all the ways of getting a hold of me, phone numbers and emails and all that stuff. And I'll help you get hooked up with when I throw a special out. But this is a daily special. It's on the Carnival Ecstasy out of Jacksonville, sailing December 2nd. That's one thing on this. When I get a really good special, folks, it's probably going to be a short-term turnaround, within 30 days or less, because that's when you get the real true bargains. But this is on the Ecstasy, by the way. It's just been refurbished. I have not been on it since it's been refurbished. I'm not even sure what all they did to it this time. But it's just been refurbished, that's my understanding. It sails on Monday, December the 2nd. It has it's a 5-dayer. It stops in Nassau and Half Moon Key. Typical Bahamas cruise out of Jacksonville. $189 for the base price inside. Ocean views are $204. balconies $449, suites $599. It's a current pricing. So, like I say, folks, that to me is a bargain. If I wasn't already booked up to my eyeballs, I would be jumping at that. But anyway, Carnival Ecstasy, December 2nd. Talk to your cruise provider and see if they can get you the good deal. If not, let me know and I'll see if I can get you hooked up on it. So that's the daily special for November the 5th, 2019 from the Fat Guy. Okay. One other thing, we've had just a terrific few days of new subscribers. We're up to 1607 as of this morning. So welcome to all of you guys. Some of the new folks that have joined us. Dina, I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. Rebellin Lariosa, Chef DK, Spanzik, Sal Leahy, Charlie C, Terry Father Tom, and Lady Sereno. There's just a few of the new folks that have subscribed here recently. Welcome to all of y'all. We appreciate each and every one of you. Those of you that are new, we do this live broadcast 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can now say we got rid of the daylight savings time for now. Thank goodness. But we're here 3 days a week. We talk about travel and cruise industry stuff. Then I regularly post videos on cruises and travel and whatever else comes along. Some are serious, some are every now and then I do it. Some tends to be funny, or I'll like to think it's funny. But anyway, that's what we do. So welcome to you new guys. We appreciate each and every one of you. As always, take a look at if you're out and about and you're looking at once this becomes a video, always check out the description because there's links and stuff. And like my daily special I just mentioned, down at the bottom underneath this in the description, there'll be a link which you can click on it and go to my website and see the cruise and more information about it and get information on the ecstasy and get information on the ports of call and all that stuff. Okay. Now, on to the business at hand. I try not to spend a whole lot of time on personal and business stuff in the mornings before we get down to the business at hand. And this one really surprised me when I saw it this morning. Royal Caribbean has dropped Glacier Bay on their Alaskan cruise visits. Now, I don't know if you folks know how this works, but they are the Glacier Bay National Park. Now, this isn't a port of call. You sail through Glacier Bay National Park, and you're close enough that you can see some of the wildlife in Glacier Bay. And of course, you've got beautiful views of glaciers up there, but there are a certain number of limited spots that they compete on for a 10-year contract. And that was earlier this year. And Royal Caribbean won a couple of the spots. So after winning the coveted spots earlier this year to sail into Glacier Bay National Park, Royal Caribbean has decided not to visit the famed Alaska Preserve, forcing it to change itineraries on several of the 2020 sailings. The National Park Service confirmed that the cruise line recently elected not to finalize its agreement to visit the park. Earlier this year, the federal agency announced that 7 cruise lines had won 10-year park access, including Cunard, Princess, Holland America, Norwegian, Seabourn, Viking, and Royal Caribbean. That means that Royal Caribbean will not be visiting sailing through Glacier Bay National Park until at least 2029. Replacing it on the cruises that they're already advertising with either going to the Endicott Arm, which is one of the Dawes Glacier, or a stop in Skagway. Now, Skagway's a lovely stop, but that's not Glacier Bay. I'm really kind of flummoxed as to why they're doing this, especially in something that's competitive. I mean, if you notice, there's some cruise lines missing from that list, like Carnival, that can't go into the park. So I'm really, I don't understand this one. But anyway, that's the news. So a lot of people that have already booked in 2020 are upset about that, because some of them, that was one of the main reasons going into the park. And Royal Caribbean is not offering any compensation or refunds or anything like that at this point. They're just saying, sorry, the itinerary have changed. So not the most sensible thing for them to do. And again, there might be perfectly good reasons why they've done this. I just don't know them. So I'll leave that up in the air. It just, on the surface, doesn't look so good. Another story that doesn't affect a whole lot of us here, but it's typical in the cruise industry, and one is this a recurring theme that we've heard over this past year more than I want to count. The Norwegian Star is suffering from mechanical issues, and a result has canceled ports of call in the Mediterranean. And this is back to the old azapods again. Only this is on a Norwegian line. So they've had to change some itineraries and delays and all that business from the azapods, because the ships can't go as fast as they need to cover the itinerary. So there's times have changed on this cruise. And then it's a question of how much work they can do in port or while the ship's moving to get this fixed for the next cruise. So we've seen several times with the azapods where it really screws things up for some time until you can get it in for a complete refurbishment. But that Norwegian's troubles with the Norwegian Star. Okay, Carnival. One of my stories last week was on the Panorama, and the Panorama has left Fincantieri shipyard in Italy and is now bound for her new home port in Long Beach, California. It's a month-long journey that the ship will make. It has technical stops in Tenerife, Canary Islands, Montevideo, Uruguay. It passes through the Strait of Magellan, Santiago, Chile, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and finally arriving at Long Beach. How would that be for a cool cruise? Yeah, I would love to have been on that one myself. I've never sailed around South America all the way. I think that would be awesome. Maybe one of these days I can do that and start looking at some of these crazy repositioning cruises. So that's been recently recommended that I do that, and I haven't yet. So anyway, 38 days it's going to take for the Panorama to get to Los Angeles, approximately 17,800 miles. That's neat. That would be fun to do. Absolutely fun. But anyway, she'll be at Long Beach and start sailing December 11th. One inaugural short cruise, like a 3-nighter, I believe it is, and then start 7-night Mexican Riviera cruises. So that's the Panorama. That's a ship that I'm going to have to get on soon. One of these days. I've done the Mexican Riviera cruises a bunch of times. I love them. I enjoy immensely, but I want to see the panorama. That would be a nice nice cruise for me to do. So one other thing this morning, and this is going to technically way over my head, Havyard, I believe it's the pronunciation of the corporation, have announced that it is currently developing a pilot of a hydrogen system that could help large ships sail emission-free over long distances. The project that Havyard Group is working on with Havyard Design and Solutions and Norwegian Electric Systems will become the biggest of its kind for ships. The first phase of development is complete, so they've got a system in place that apparently is working. Now they're going to try to expand it to get to the larger ships like our cruise ships. The company's entering into the approval stage for its hydrogen system, together with Lind Engineering as tank supplier and Power Cell Sweden as supplier of fuel cells. So, we've talked about several things in the past on how the things that the industry is doing to green up, to do away with some of the emissions and problems that cruise ships cause. And here is another step in that direction that's currently now in research. I mean, it's going to be years before we actually see a final product, I'm sure, but there's something else in the pipeline working its way toward cruise ships in the future. So that's actually it this morning. Cold day here in Bedford County, Virginia. Like I mentioned, I'm into hibernation mode. No, I'm not. I got to go outside and work today. I got to start wrangling leaves today. Not my favorite duty. I've got a couple days, a couple weeks now that much of my side jobs, my funnel cake business and my pet sitting for my niece are on the back burner. So I need to catch up with work here on the farm and around the house to get ready for winter. So we're going to be doing some outside work. Again, I hate working. So I'll be out there in the cold later on today. So anyway, that's coming up. That's it for this morning.